Good morning, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Boy, oh boy, is it chilly! I'm telling you, man. This whole Arizona winter thing. In the morning, it's actually really damn chilly out there. It's like we run through the entire year every single day in terms of going through the seasons. Like you will freeze your keister off first thing in the morning, right? For real. But by mid morning, you're in spring. By mid afternoon, you're in the middle of summer again. And then, you start winding down and catching fall. And by the time the sun's going down, the most beautiful sunsets you've ever seen. I love it, man. I moved to a good place. Very happy about that. So, on the lifeboat, we're not a charity. I got no board. There's nobody leaning on me, right? We do what we want with whatever we want. A lot of people do super chats, right? And we've always been of the firm belief that that money really should go and do good things, and we try to do that, right? And we've been very, very fortunate that we've gotten a ton of people into medical assisted treatment and off of the stuff that they're calling heroin. That isn't the stuff that they got on the street these days. That is primarily, the analog bathtub version of fent. And there are about 3 different companies that I've worked with since we started doing this that are online service providers that will get people into treatment via online. I'm not going to send money to a drug addict for a lot of obvious reasons. I'm not going to send money to a drug addict. I'll tell you a really quick story, and then I'll tell you what happened to me. There was a guy in the state of Utah, and I was doing business deals with him. We were doing the stock stuff, and his name was Mark. And Mark came walking into my office one day, and I had the spoon in my hand. I had that thing in the air like this, and I had a cigarette lighter underneath it. He bypassed everything. He didn't knock on the front door. He didn't see my wife. He just came walking straight in, and my office was in the back of my house. And he had known me a long time, but he just came straight chilling right through the house, right in, and I had it cooking. And it led to a very odd conversation. And the really funny thing, not funny haha, funny ironic, is that this guy turned out to be one of the biggest drug addicts in history. But I didn't know that at the time. He's currently serving federal prison time. But that morning, or that day, he said to me, "How long have you been on this?" And I was like, 3 or 4 presidential administrations at this point. It's been a really long time, and we had a talk, and he's like, "Look, if we're going to keep doing this, you got to get off of this stuff." And I said, "I don't think you have any idea how hard that is." And he agreed to pay for my methadone if I showed up the following morning at the methadone clinic. And he said to me, "Why don't you just go get on methadone?" I said, "I don't have any money." He said, "We've made a fortune." And I said, "Yes, we have. And not only have I spent that fortune, but I'm in debt, right?" And that's just kind of how my life ran at that time. And he said, "If you're really going to do this, you call me at 4:30 a.m. and I'll meet you at the clinic at 5. Now, Mark said this, I think, in hindsight, because he didn't believe for a hot second that I was going to make that phone call to him at 4:30 a.m. But I did. And you know what? I wanted to get on methadone. I wanted to get off of the dope. It was hell. It really was. So I met him at this clinic, and with fees and with all of the stuff, the final amount came to $180 for intake fees, for everything else. Boom, I'm out the door. And that was with the first 14 days paid for. 14 days, enough to get your head straight. And I'm waiting in line. I got to wait online to take a pee. And Mark's he's going through it. And probably in hindsight, because he's on drugs, but I didn't know that at the time. But he's in the lobby, and he's just uncomfortable as hell. He's looking at everybody else. To make a long story short, I drove there. He drove there. So he came up and he said, "You got it from here, man? I'm out of here." I said, "Yeah. If you want to leave, that's fine. Thank you so much for your help." I gave him a big hug. And you know what I did next, right? Sure you do. I waited about 45 seconds, right? Which to me felt like an hour and 45 minutes, but I can't imagine it was more than a minute. And the whole time I'm looking around, I'm like, man, they ain't even got me in for a pee test yet. You know how long this has taken? Like in any other place in the world, this would already be done. These people are rinky-dink. They don't know what they're doing. They got no desire to really help people. If they wanted to help people, there'd be 3 people in here taking pee cups, right? Like, how damn tough is this? You know what I did? I went and I got that $180. I said, give me that money back. And they said, we would have to hear that from the man that brought you here or his wife. And I said, don't trip. I got this. We'll call his wife Karen because I actually used his real name. So we'll call his wife Karen. I called my wife on the phone and I said, hey, Karen, is it too late for you guys to turn around and come back here real quick? And I was such a dirtbag at that point in my life that my wife just rolled with it. Like, my wife knew that there was a con coming, or her husband would not have done that on the phone. So my wife was like, so am I supposed to be Mark's Karen? I was like, yeah. Oh, you can't turn around? Well, then could you talk to the people at the clinic because they don't want to give me the money back you just handed them. Handed the phone to the woman at the clinic who spoke to my wife briefly. And then they handed me that $180. And I bought dope with it. And I was going to taper off with that dope. I was going to slowly taper off because $150 in that town at that time got me 20 bags. So I thought if I could do just one bag a day for the first 10 days, I did not make it to dinner. Those 20 bags were gone before dinner. So I'm telling you this story because I come here and I talk all the time about the victories of the lifeboat and all the people that get help. And we pump our fist in the air. But I'm not going to BS anybody either. We don't win on every one of them. And yesterday we lost on one. And I'm telling the story because I don't want anybody else to get hustled, right? Because this is a good one. I'm an ex-convict, right? And I'm an ex-convict that didn't hurt people, right? So to get my record, you had to steal a lot of stuff. And you had to basically con people and be just that guy. So to con me is not an easy thing to do. So when I get somebody on the phone who says that they're strung out on tranq, right? Strung out on tranq, then I really want to go out of my way to help these people. You know what I'm saying? So this individual said, how do we do this? You send me money? I said, no, I don't send anybody money. If you really want to help, there's a method and a procedure that we go through. And depending on what state you're in, there's a couple of different services that we work with, blah, 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 blah. I told them the name of the services. And this individual got him an account on one of the platforms like Cash App or one of those. It wasn't, but one of those. And got an account in the name of the company that I work with. And the craziest part of this is you actually can PayPal these companies, right? So I needed to be a whole lot slicker. It's like if you're a YouTube creator and you get those emails from YouTube that aren't really from YouTube, like you got to look and see where the email address came from. Okay, well, I sent money to a person that has probably already put that money in their arm. Right? We're not going to win every one of them. And the crazy thing is this. If that person comes back here, I will help you. Right? So now, if it was just a con man getting over on me, it is what it is. Right? It's really hard to tell sometimes. But I really believed this. And if that cat is the real deal, then you can come on back. Because that money ain't going to last you until this afternoon. Hell, he got less money than I got from Mark. He didn't get the whole shooting match. It is a process. One of the beautiful things about how we do what we do with this is that the first investment is a small one. And then the person has to go and actually perform and show that they're doing what they tell me that they're doing for a week. And then we get them a very long supply. But they got to prove that they're doing what they're doing, right? So we don't get burned often. We really don't. I'm very cautious. A lot of people have tried, but this isn't the first time that the boat has been burned, but this was creative as hell, right? This was really pretty damn creative. Where we have to be careful is people that get in and get the stuff and sell it, right? So, but we've gotten very good. And I'll tell you something, I'm going to sound like a real jerk right now, but I turn people down. I have to. It's just the nature of this, and it's not fun, and it's one of those things that gives me bad dreams sometimes. But you know what? You can't work with every single person that calls you or reaches out to you, because the truth of the matter is 96 of them out of 100 ain't anywhere close to ready to quit. And that's just the way it is. The fact that they're reaching out and the first call that they're making is, hey, get me some cash, is usually not a great call, right? And the really amazing thing is that more often than not, truthfully, more often than not, I would say 8 out of 10 of the people that we helped, we went to them, which is really cool. We saw people in that were struggling, and they tell you a little about what's going on in their life, and you start working with them, and you realize that this is a pain pill addiction, right? And you start asking questions like, where are you getting this stuff? But it was a kick in the right in the onions. It always hurts, because you think to yourself, oh, that could have gone to somebody that really wanted that. You know what I mean? What time is it in Arizona? It is 7 minutes after the hour of 6. We do not celebrate daylight savings. You know what, man? This is what I was talking about last night about Tommy Bird, right? This is the kind of thing that Tommy Bird says. Honestly, if we went back through every single comment that Tommy's ever left on the lifeboat, you could do a Sun Tzu kind of thing, right? With Tommy said, but it would be him, not me. He's made some really incredible comments since being here. Jennifer, I know how painful this is. My cousin isn't ready, and it kills me. But I can only pray and leave the door open. I just feel like I'm letting her down. You're not letting her down. You're not. Here's the thing, and I promise you this is the truth, right? I've actually tested this theory. Do you know the whole, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach him algebra, or whatever that expression is? Here's the deal with that. I've led drug addicts to water. I've also kidnapped drug addicts and brought them to the pond. Like, I've grabbed really close friends of mine, right, and really tried to help people get sober. Like, I've gone above and beyond. I've done stupid things to try to help people get sober. And you know what? Not only does it not work, they resent you for it. I promise you they do. Very often it'll be the end of your friendship, that crunching you're hearing. Your squirrel working on breakfast. She gets up the same time I do. We're kind of on the same schedule, me and the cat, which is good. It doesn't work that way in the summer, but when it's cold out, squirrels all over it. So, so this was a bummer. Greatest question known to man right here, right? This is it. Is this not the... Oh, I'm sorry, Jen. That was probably out of line. I did say algebra at 6 a.m. However, I have let it be known from the very first day that we opened the lifeboat. I'm not exaggerating. From day one, I have said, and if you counted how many times I've said it, it's astounding. I was told there would be no math. We don't do it here. We really don't. Hey, it took me 3 decades to quit, right? If we had given up at the first, I'm sorry, Jen. If I had given up at the first decade or the second decade, it wouldn't be a lifeboat, right? Or the third decade, really. I mean, I got really blessed that somebody found me and really helped me to save myself, right? Because we don't save people. That's a nice thing, and people say it, but I don't save anybody. You don't save anybody. People save themselves, and in a perfect world, we enable people to save themselves, and we help them get some tools so that when we walk away, they can continue to save themselves. They can't get addicted to the person that's saving them either. So how do you help an addict without enabling them? This is the ultimate question for anybody that knows anybody that's on drugs, right? This is it. It's all encapsulated right there in Pookie Woo's one question. How do you do it? Okay, well, here's the deal. The way that you enable somebody, quite simply, is to do something that allows them to continue the habit that is destroying their lives. You understand? If what you're doing is helping that person continue to get high with love and affection or anything else, you're enabling them. So if they call you and say, my car payment's due, and they're going to repossess my car, right? So I need $500. Now, that $500 isn't going to go to dope. That $500 is going to go to the car to make sure the car doesn't get repossessed. Right? So that the next $500 can go to dope. You follow me? Very often we'll swoop in as an enabler and we'll go, I'm not I'm not giving them money because they'll go buy dope with it, but I'll save their car. Well, what do you think they're going to do with the first $50 that they get after you save their car? They're going to buy a bag of dope with it, or they're going to buy a couple of fifths. So the way that you help someone, let's use that situation right there. Your loved one calls you and says, hey, I can't make my car payment. And this is above table, right? It's all in the open. I know you're a drug addict. You know that I know the whole deal. I come in and I say, I'll make your car payment, Pookie. I'll do that. But I'm going to take your car, right? I'm not going to have you out running around on this thing if you can't pay for it, right? That's bad. People that can't make car payments eventually go, you know what? I probably ain't going to be able to make the next one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get a title loan on this car, right? I'll go borrow $500. It's $500, man, right? What's the big deal? They go get $500. They don't tell anyone in their family. And 4 or 5 months later, that company wants their money, or they're going to come get the car. And you know how much money that money's going to turn into? Huh? That $500 a month for 3 months is going to be like three grand, $3,500 with fees and everything else. And that's how people lose their cars, right? So I would pay the person's car, and then I would take it and put it in my garage. And every time that person needs assistance with something they own, I'll pay for it. And then I'm going to take it and put it in my garage. I'm not going to let the next batch of cash while they drive away from me to go get dope. Not in the car I just paid for, right? If I'm going to help somebody, what I'm going to help you with is like same situation. The person calls me and says, hey, Tommy, I'm about to lose my car. Excellent. I will help you save your car. The car is going to go in my garage. Now, let's talk about saving you. There's a reason you're not making your car payment. Right? This is above board. We know you're on drugs, right? There's a reason you're not making your car payment. So let's sit down with a piece of paper and then let's make a list of the 5 worst things that are going on in your life. Because let me tell you something about your friend that you're not trying to enable. If you're seeing the tip of the iceberg, right, which is the car payment that hasn't been made, there's legal trouble. There's warrants out for his arrest or her arrest. That because you get a ticket, you ain't paying that ticket any more than you're paying that car payment. In fact, hell, the car carts you around, gets you to and fro wherever you're buying your dope, right? So there's no chance in hell you're going to be doing anything before the car payment, right? Certainly not paying a ticket. Wow. I'll tell you what, Amanda, you're an amazing friend. I would not recommend this route for anyone else either. However, I would do it for friends of mine. I wouldn't recommend for other people to do it, but I am a recovered heroin addict. So if I got a guy in my house, right, or even a gal in my house who's trying to kick dope, number one, I know what it feels like to kick dope. So I'm not giving this person any crap, right? I'm not giving this person a lick of crap. Not really a good time. It's one of the worst things that happens is that people start to go into withdrawal or whatever, and their loving family says things to them at that point like, you see, this is what that drug does to you. And you think to yourself, God, right? Please remove this person from the planet. Just take them away. Get them away from me. No, what you need to say, look, there's plenty of time for that conversation when this person isn't sick, right? You are, Amanda, you are an amazing human being. I'm not kidding. If you knew the number of people that I have sat with while they were trying to kick dope, right? Virtually or in person, the number of people that I have sat with who are trying to kick dope, it is unpleasant. It is really unpleasant, but I'm your guy, right? I'm going to be there. If the person literally says, I need that kind of help, then what you need to do is right now in this country, we have a surplus of cash for helping people who want to get off stuff. We really do. We've never had more money budgeted for that reason. So if the person doesn't have insurance, trust me, you can still get them into care. And if someone's saying to me, man, I'm telling you where I live, okay, I'm telling you, keep making phone calls because there's $30 billion, right, allocated for this. So if there's not one, start one, right? Call somebody in your town because there's 30 billion untapped dollars. Oh man, you know what? There's something else too, but I don't want to say it here because I can't think of the name of it. And then a million of you are going to send me an email. There is a service that's like a one-stop shop for people that need help. I was actually offered a job at it. I'll have to go back through old videos because I turned the job down. But yeah, I'll be looking in the near future. I'm going to put up a link. I'm going to be putting up a link to check out that for people that are trying that someone needs help. It also depends on what city you're in. There are some cities that are amazing, right, with what they can do to help people. The city I'm in currently has one of the best programs in the entire world for people who are trying to get sober and get on their feet, right? It's remarkable. It's truthfully remarkable. Sorry. But if I don't put a note down, I'll forget everything. It's the only hope these days is pen and paper. I'm an old person, right? You need to paint everyone's Christmas gift. Man, it's so much cooler when you make somebody's Christmas gift. I'm sorry. It really is. I think that is one of the coolest things in the entire world. I'll tell all of you, right? There's 15,500 of you. I'm afraid I will not be getting each of you a gift this Christmas. Perhaps next Christmas. Right? So, but if it's the thought that counts, just know that I'm thinking really nice things for each and every one of you. Wow. That is so funny. Because that's what I used to call it too. The hardest part is the bewitching hours, as we used to say, between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. Talking someone through the night to get them in the morning. We didn't put the BE on that, but we used to just call it the witching. Like the witching hours for real. That's the, and a lot of times for people that, Michael J., you look great in green. For some people, that third day, right? For heroin addicts, that what's happening inside the body is it takes 72 hours for all of the opiates to leave your body, right? So you've been dope sick and dope sick and dope sick and dope sick and just hating life and hating life. When the last of that stuff leaves your body, in theory, you should begin to heal, right? That's where it should start, but it doesn't. There's about a 5 or 6 hour window that is the most dangerous time in the world for an addict because their system is completely clean, but they're jonesing like it's not. Like they have the desire of the habit that they had 5 days earlier. And very often that's the shot that kills the addict. That is the period of time that causes the overdose. Does that make sense to everybody? Because when a person makes the 72 hours, now there's literally no dope in their system, right? There's nothing attached to the receptors. The next shot that goes in is going to have a clean receptor to stick the key into. And those receptors have basically, for the first time in probably a decade for some people, have had a chance to start filling back up the reservoir of all of the chemicals that our body creates that we get high on starts to back up. So when you hit that window where you're like, you know what? Screw this, man. I'm not ready to quit just yet. That person's not going to go and buy 15 bags and throw a half a bag in the spoon, right? Dude's probably got a 3-bag habit. If he does 3 bags, he's going to die. I promise. So even a bag and a half, right? Now I'm talking to you about, right, diacetylmorphine. I'm talking to you about heroin. The crap that's on the streets today, all bets are off. All bets are off. The person that got over on us, right? The person that got over on the boat. If this person, and by the way, I'm going to report it and all that. I mean, I'm sure they'll get the cash back when they find out the person, anyway. But that individual, if they're really on tranq, right? If that individual is really on tranq, you got any idea how hard it is to get somebody off that substance? Right? How much my heart goes out to that person if they're really on that. That is a unbelievable cocktail of drugs. It's the 2 drugs that every heroin addict on planet Earth knows you don't mix. You never mix opiates, right, with anything that's similar to a benzo. You don't mix opiates and benzodiazepines or anything similar. You don't mix multiple respiratory depressants, much less the strongest of both examples, right? Fent or nitazines, right? Phytonitazines, stuff 50, 100 times stronger than heroin. And on top of that, you're going to throw in xylazine, which is a tranquilizer made for a friggin' horse. I'm not being facetious. It's made for a horse. That's what they use on horses. This stuff used to be acquired. It started the xylazine part of the tranq drug gained a lot of popularity in Puerto Rico. Right, this was a big Puerto Rican thing about a decade and a half ago, 2 decades ago. But they did really small amounts of it, and they would go buy it from vets, and they would shoot it, but they would do minuscule amounts of it. Somehow, in true American fashion, now we're giving people, right, so much more than they need. And number one, I mean, I guess the idea, according to the people that I know, like the person that just got over on us, right? In our conversing, I said to this individual, why in God's name would they put, right? If they're not just trying to kill you. And he took exception to that. He said that he doesn't believe it's because they're trying to kill anyone. He thinks that it's because this fentanyl takes you straight up and straight down. He said when he was doing heroin, he had to do a shot every 8 to 10 hours. And on today's fentanyl, he said maybe 3. So every 3 hours they have to fix again. So by the drug dealer adding the xylazine, they can now go a full 8 hours. I said, but when you wake up, you're sick. He said, yeah. When you wake up, you're instantly sick. I don't believe for a second a drug dealer doesn't love the idea that you need it every 3 hours and they want to help you so much that they're going to mix a new drug into it. That sounds like bullshit. I'm sorry. That doesn't carry any weight with me. If you're a drug dealer, you want crack, right? Crack lasted 15 minutes. You want a drug that somebody needs to do this all day long, right? That's the best case scenario for money. This cat just uses me as a jungle gym in the morning. Just sort of climbs on me, walks away. She's really not... Yeah, I don't know what to make a squirrel in the morning. Cosmic Christie, so nice to see you. Louis Thoreau, I don't know if I know that video, Cosmic Christie. If you could maybe email me a link to that. If it's a documentary, I hate thinking there's a good documentary I've missed. I'm not being a wise guy. I watch a lot of documentaries. Come on, Squirrel Nut. Like, that's my get down as far as entertainment goes. You know what I mean? That's my that's what I watch. I watch a bunch of them. So thank you. But yeah, so adding the xylazine thing, I don't buy that. I'm sorry, I don't. Your cat sits on the back of your chair and watches you work. I call him boss. Well, I am this animal here's pet, is what it is. She tolerates me being here, providing I pet her on the top of the dome on a pretty regular basis, provide her with TRE ATSs, and keep the kitty litter immaculately clean. So we get along. Does Squirrel ever go outside, or is she an indoor girl? Well, there is an excellent question. So here's the deal with that. My backyard is fenced. I got a very tall concrete thing around the pool in the backyard area. You've probably seen it. If you ever go over to Chase the Heat and you see my brother's channel, you've probably seen the backyard. So she can go out with me when I'm out there. We have a lot of birds of prey in this part of Arizona. So when you go out, you see hawks and you see eagles and things, and they will pick up animals 3 times the size of Squirrel Nut Zipper. So the only time she's allowed outside is if I am outside. But we do go out every day and play and screw around outside. So, but it's only if I'm outside. The birds don't seem to want to get particularly close to anything near a human. Did I miss a Corey Feldman reference? Boy, do I hate if I miss a good Corey Feldman reference. I do believe that belief is the most powerful thing we have in this world. There you go. There you go. The comeback king. Here he comes, the comeback king. I'm sorry, people. If you've not watched Corey Feldman at Riot Fest, you don't know what you're missing. We are near Tucson. Our Arizona critters are no joke. No, they really are no joke. Javelinas, all kinds of things that will really do your cat dirty. So, squirrel is allowed out, providing she's with dad. But that's the only way she's allowed out. This cat will have to live to old age. Wait a second. Thank you so much, Damien. I really appreciate that. Jen, did you say embarrassingly, I know that guy? I'm sorry. Could you be talking about Corey Feldman? We have to talk. We have a great deal of fun at Corey Feldman's expense. I was not one of the people that picked on Corey Feldman or did anything like that. Who is CF? On the replay crew today. Sorry to say CF is not sober anymore. You know what? I'm not sure if you're talking about yourself, but here's what happens. Part of this process is that you stumble, right? Ideally, you don't even have to put a hand down. It's just one of those things where you kind of run until you get your feet back underneath you. Sometimes that stumble requires putting down a hand. Sometimes that stumble requires putting down two, right? Or falling directly to the ground and having to crawl for a little bit. But it is absolutely a part of the process. And one of the amazing things is that even though we're online and that we can't see one another, the crew members of the boat have been amazing about just coming here and saying, you know what, I relapsed, right? Corey Feldman, CF. I am literally, what is it, Monday? Is this the third Monday this week, Kat? Look at the look. Even Squirrel realizes just how off I was. Look at that. She's looking at me like, dude, what's up? No, Corey Feldman is not sober. I did a video on it. He is not sober. He is not. Now, totally different scenario. That cat is just lying to the world. Not only is Corey Feldman no longer sober, I don't believe he has ever been sober. I'm sorry, I don't. You can watch video after video after video after video, and you can't BS a BSer, right? People say, well, this person says, I look at the cat. That's all I got to do. I promise you. If I was at your house, I'd do the same thing. I'm a drug addict. Spent my entire life a drug addict. I can look at a person and tell you if they're doing dope, right? Don't make mistakes very often. I really don't. If you're not, then you're taking so much of something from a doctor that it's giving the exact same impression. But they're not hard to spot. There are so many, every single drug has an affectation. There's something about every drug that people do that makes it really obvious that they do that drug. Even if they are beasts at hiding it, there's always a tell with every single drug. Lacey Silver says, read his book. No way he wrote it sober. I'm going to do that. What do you think of that? Because that is absolutely great content, and I want to read it. I'm betting it's ghostwritten, but I'm betting it's a hell of a read because that dude did have a very unusual life. So I'm going to read that book. Is it called Feldman by any chance? Is it called The Comeback King? I'm sorry, but I'm really going to read that. I really am. And then I'll give you guys a vicious book review. I'll tell you what I think of it. He has definitely been faking it for decades. I believe that. I did a video after watching the Comeback Kid video on, watching that video got me doing a deep dive on CF. And that CF, choreology, it got me doing a deep dive into old Corey. And I started looking at some videos. And you know what? I can laugh about that dude. But recently, the woman that was running his tours, and by the way, if she happens to come across this, you can come on the lifeboat anytime you want. I'd love to have you. I'd love for you to. She does a video where she has a piece of tape across her mouth with an NDA, like non-disclosure agreement, but she rips that piece of tape off and tells an amazing tale. And I'll tell you something. She's so freaking believable. It's hard to handle, right? I don't find anything about her that is Difficult to believe. Feld dog deep dives are amazing. Yes, they really are. And I really dove deep. But she was, she tells some stories that are horrifying, that are unforgivable. Feel me? Yeah, choreography. That's the name. Oh, that's the name of it. Oh, you guys are the funniest. I swear to God, this show is going to go down as one of. This is hysterically funny. Do you feel like you're like this is an episode of My Name is Earl? Tell me I'm in the Tucson area and I have resources. How can we connect to grow the safety net? I'm 9 years clean, deep in recovery. Wow. Wow. The best email is sober, SOBER, at myyahoo.com. Sober at myyahoo.com. Not Yahoo, my Yahoo. The name of the gal, somebody who's going to look this up for me. I cannot remember. I had it written down. I want to say somebody, come on. Corey Finn. Can you tell me the name of the woman that ran Corey's tour? She was his tour manager, super talented musician. And she's the one that has really broken the silence about what was going on that tour bus and everything else. And it's just awful. Louis Theroux, Dark Sides. Thank you, Cosmic Christie. Sorry, people, but I've learned that if I do not start writing things down, then I do not look them up afterwards, and that's bad. Jen, that was his social media person? Perhaps we're not thinking of the same person. I watched a video of a woman who said that she took the position of running the tour. She had played on stage with Elton John and some other people, but she took this as a step up because it gave her something really fantastic on her resume to say that she had run the tour. So I don't know. Maybe we're talking about, and there could be multiple people coming out talking about him, I think. Oh my Lord, you're friends with this entire old band as well. Man, I bet you got stories. Email me some fun stuff. I want to know about this. No. You have to see this, man. You have to see this. You have to watch the first, say, 5 minutes of Riot Fest. Feldman, Riot Fest. Okay, I got you. Now I know the replay crew is going to go nuts on me. Hey man, I don't know what you're reading if you don't put it up. I'm literally now, people, just reading what people are writing concerning the Corey Feldman, the Riot Fest. If you have not seen it, let me recap real quick. Here's what it looks like. A guitarist comes out. Make no mistake, the band, these are talented musicians, right? These are people with chops, man. These are people that have played with rock stars, right? Like really excellent musicians, no joke. But the guitarist comes out and he's kind of, he's got the hat that the Motor City Madman, Ted Nugent, made kind of famous. The cowboy hat, bent up, super, the dark one, kind of bent up on the sides. Comes out and he walks up to the microphone and he says, "Hey, let's start a chant to bring Corey out here, right? Let's start a chant to bring Corey out here." How many words is that? 8 or 9? Anyway, those words, watching this man say that, you can see the despair in those 9 words. It's like, a picture's worth of those words tell a story. I literally listened to this guy and I could hear him saying that, you know what? I'm a real musician. I don't know why the hell I'm here. I can't believe I got to start this chant. And then he starts the comeback king chant. And the other one guitarist isn't plugged in. It is a mess like you've never seen. But It just makes you wonder. It really does. If someone is lying about being sober, they are dealing with a lot of shame and pain. I agree with this 99 out of 100 times. I would agree with you 99 out of 100 times. Unless it is a systematic lifestyle thing. And what I mean by that is this dude just didn't quit. Like, I don't believe for any second at all that there's recovery. Like, I've never, you really, I don't know, this is me personally, and you can take it or leave it, but I've met people like this. I've met people who finances are never going to force this person to be homeless, right? Finances are never going to, they have resources, they've got family, they got cash, they got whatever, and they are allowed, basically, financially, to keep going. And it enables people to basically BS the world for a really long time. He may be in that place. I don't think so. I think he's going to have to get really sober before he could regret losing that sobriety. You know, there's some pretty horrific stories about the tour thing and bringing his kid along, and it's just there's some terrible stuff that really bummed me out. I'm sorry to hear that you lost your uncle. Truthfully, I am. I am very happy to hear that the boat is helping you heal. That's so cool. Tried for like 3 years to get him clean. I felt like I failed him. You have not failed him. Let me tell you something, right? This is what I do all day long, every day. I wouldn't have been able to help him. A person has to help themselves. We have to continue to try to help them for as many chances as they need. But we're never going to be able to do it for them, right? They can only do it for themselves. And if what we're doing for them is allowing them to stay high longer, we're enabling them. We are. Tommy, what if it's rent? I'd say if I love the person, I'd say, I'm not paying your rent. I'm not. You knew you needed $1,000 for rent and you did $1,000 worth of dope, knowing the entire month you were going to call me at the end of that month. Ain't no way I'm paying your rent. I'm not. That's enabling you. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm not going to enable somebody by stepping in and paying the rent, because the first $5 they get after I pay the rent is going to buy their drug or their booze. I'm enabling them to continue to get high. Now, if this is a brother, if this is somebody that, you know, is family, if this is somebody that is, I've known my whole life, this is a homie, this is somebody, I'm going to not pay that person's rent, and then they're going to come to my home. I'm going to take that person in. We're going to get them sober. We're going to get them working, and then we're going to get them the hell out of the house. But I wouldn't. Tough love to me is not throwing someone out in the street. You're never going to see them again. They're going to be dead. That's the world we live in today. The dope out there will kill them. Right? So if my cutting someone off has made them homeless, I'm probably going to invite them in. But I'm certainly not doing that for 15,500 people, right? This is why, you know, you define your family. And it may not be the people you're born with, right? Might be. I have a great family. I'm blessed to beat hell. I really am. I got the greatest family in the world. They stood by me when they shouldn't have. They stood by me when they had no reason to. They really did, right? Other than family. And I'm blessed. But you can pick your family. I got brothers and sisters that I wasn't born with. I promise. That's a good comment. Jessica, I know the feeling, darling. Yes, it's hard not to feel the blame, but we can't stop them. I feel that way about my cousin. I fear the phone call where she isn't anymore. You know what? We all fear that phone call. And, you know, every single day when I get up in the morning and I check the inbox on the computer, right? There's that moment where you're waiting to hear if we lost anybody, right? And it happens. If you've been on the boat for any length of time, you've seen me in a tie. By the way, I cannot begin to tell you the amount of you that have reached out and said, man, I must have missed something. How the hell did you go from skier to bank robber to people? There are 1,400 videos out there, right? You go to the early videos, I tell you my entire life story, right? It's here. It's been told so many times in 1,400 videos. A lot of you have said, I'd like to hear if you could do the whole thing. I've done it. if I do it again, my audience is going to lose it. You know how many times I've told this story? I'd love to tell you, but it's pretty easy to just go back to the beginning. You don't even have to go to the lives. You can go to the early videos, and they have titles like "My Life of Crime," right? More Life of Crime, like those kind of things. I do make it pretty damn easy to realize what I'm talking about. Yes, so 1,400 videos altogether. Jean Marie, every day somebody emails me and says, have you ever thought of doing a video on this? And I go, I've done 11 videos on that. Or they'll say, have you ever thought of doing a video on, I promise you, there's nothing we haven't done. And I guess that's the point I'm making. I love you all. I appreciate the suggestions, but scroll down, you probably see it, honestly. And I'll do them again. There are some that we just recycle. Stay in your lane, I've probably done 30 times. I don't know how many times I've done it, but I'll continue to, because it's a hell of a life lesson, right? It's one of those things you can actually walk out of prison and go, I'm taking that one to my life. Because you walk by a cell with people fighting in it in prison, you don't even look. No matter what happens in prison, you don't even look, right? Or if by some chance you got screwed into looking, like you're walking down a staircase and there's a guy in front of you, right? And there's a guy behind you. Right? You're in a line of people and someone gets one of these. That happened to me. And the cops bring us in and they're like, what'd you see? I said, I didn't see anything. The guy's like, it's mathematically impossible that you didn't see anything. Right? It's the individual directly in front of you. Trust me, I didn't see anything. I was staring at the ground because you can't get involved in anything, right? And that was something that honestly, like I get involved in people's lives out here, but I choose it. Right? My lane is my lane. Stay in your lane is a shirt that needs to get made. I'll make it. It's it. You know, we got a bunch of merch too. I don't ever say that. We do have a bunch of merch. But I don't ever say that. I probably should. Will I ever write a book? I'll be really honest, Amy, I'm not smart enough to write a book. Just keeping it real. I'm not. I have something that works really well. And it's this. I can't do this. It's a completely different thing when I try to get my thoughts onto paper. Right? My journal, if you read my journal, you wouldn't think it was written by me, I promise. Yeah, that is a good t-shirt. I will make that happen, people. Stay in your lane is a t-shirt. I promise I will make happen. I should mention the merch. I should. In the drop-down box on every single video, there should be a little link right to our merch. And if not, you can go to the About part, or it should be right on the home page, but it says Lifeboat Merch. And we got a lot of really cool merch there. And we also have got a lot of really wild things coming up. I don't think you can imagine. We've got some wild things coming up. I think it's fair to say that a year from now, you won't recognize the old ship. I would say 60 days from now, you won't recognize the old ship. But nothing will change. I promise you that. We may need more people, swinging wrenches, and there'll be the occasional growing pain and everything else, and then we'll get rolling. You know what, Jen? You're awesome. Thank you. Wow, isn't that amazing? Honestly, this is wild. My uncle was an alcoholic for probably 40-ish years. When he finally got sober, he said what it took was moving his alcoholic girlfriend in with him. He realized how hard it is to deal with alcoholics. Honestly, that's wild to me. That really is. That's wild to me. When I was in the life, I wasn't able to see past my own hand. I mean, everybody around me was melting down. Hello, Christy Covington. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Everything would be melting down around me. I wouldn't even. I wasn't capable of getting out of my own way. For real. Yeah, living. So she says my uncle said that while he'd been around other alcoholics, he never lived with one that drank as much as he did. Right. But I'll tell you this. I was married to an alcoholic, and I mean a vicious alcoholic who, by the way, is sober and doing beautifully, has a fantastic life, is a very, very happy woman. God bless her. But she used to drink a fifth a day. No lie. Like a bottle of Jack or a bottle of whatever. Didn't really care, but just as long as it was hard liquor. But she would drink a fifth a day. And I would rather live with any other kind of addict. How's that? Any other kind of addict. Yeah. Well, the nice thing here is that while we don't officially do a kind of sponsor kind of a thing here on the Lifeboat, what we do is we encourage people to, in this day and age, if you've got 5 people, right, who you can contact at any given time, then there's no chance you don't have a friend that you can't get a hold of 24/7, around the clock, right? Because we have text, we have all of these different ways of getting in contact with people. Really, if you have 3, there's no chance you're going to get 3 that you cannot reach. It just doesn't happen. So you tell people, hey, you know what? You're my ripcord. And I'm not going to call you because, I stubbed my toe. I'm going to call you when my bag of tricks doesn't work and I'm thinking of going to get high. Right? And the truth is this. You want sobriety that quick? Here it is. This is what it comes down to. It comes down to, if you want to stay sober, you reach out to somebody before you reach out to the dope dealer. There it is. You want to stay sober, that's what you do. You want to stay sober, you reach out to somebody before you drive to the liquor store. I've got people that I am their sponsor, right? I sponsor people. Now, I don't much these days because of just how overwhelming it is with the size of the boat. But obviously, the people I originally sponsored, I still work with all the people that I originally worked with. And someone will fall off the wagon and I'll say, why didn't you reach out to me? And the honest ones will go, because I knew if I reached out to you, you were going to keep me from doing it. Okay. So the ones that want it, right? You reach out to somebody, I promise you're never going to have a problem finding anybody here to reach out to. I promise you. Because we're all in the same boat. Every single person here knows what it feels like to be the person that has to make that call. Right? I don't know about you people. I'm not fond of making that call. But I've made it. Boy, have I made it. These days, I'm on the other end of that call. And I go out of my way to make people... Well, thank you. This was a text I just got. Oh, somebody from my 5 just sent me the Comeback King, looking so much like Michael Jackson. It's terrifying. I think it's on your end. Is anybody having problems with my audio? I hope not. Uh-oh. What was that? All right, people. That brings us to pretty close to the top of the hour. I started a few minutes early today because I had some stuff that I had to take care of. Okay, good. So it was on your side. I'm sorry, but at least that's better than it being on my side. And you know that right now we have a 187 on a group of people. We have 187. 187 people are in the chat right now on a mother-loving question. Would you ever work for an organization called the Beyond Sober Program? Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I could work for an organization, and I don't know that an organization would ever work with me, but I would not be at all offended by the name. I mean, that's the goal. Sober is just, right? So what I say this all the time. We all use different words to mean different things, but to me, right? Once we can get chemicals out of your life, that's base camp, right? Your life is Mount Everest. And all we're trying to do is get you to base camp. I don't know what your climb is, right? I don't even know what anyone's climb wants to be, right? Every single person wants a different Everest. Every single person wants something different out of life. But I can tell you that being addicted ain't on anybody's list. Nobody wrote that down, right? So the goal of the boat is and always will be to get as many people as we possibly can to their own base camp. Oh, no, you don't, you little snot. If you're going to go, you're not going to do it across the top of the computer. She would like very much to still... Goonies is a fantastic movie. One of the best. Seriously. Goonies to me is such a chunk of my childhood, as is Stand By Me. The scene in Stand By Me where the kid's eating the blueberry pie. My friend Shawnee O'Shea, blew chunks all over me at the same part of the movie. I'll never forget it. Watching Stand By Me, he went and hurled all over me, almost in sync with the movie. It was a beautiful thing. It really was. I wasn't very happy about it at the time, but hindsight being 2020, it's pretty funny. I've heard good things about Beyond Sober. I have no problem with the name. I think it's a very cool name. I think it's a very, very cool name. And I think base camp is, that's what they're trying to do. That's what it sounds like to me, right? You want to get beyond sobriety. What sobriety is, I want to get beyond sobriety. They're great. They sound great. You know what? People all the time say things. I get these a lot where people say, where you would be perfect? Where you would... People, I robbed a lot of banks, right? Or I scare the hell out of organizations. And I don't blame them. I'm not mad at anybody for it, people. But you've gotten to know this, right? But if you want to hire me, you're going to ask for something like a resume. Can you imagine? Do you know what my resume looks like? Like, where did you do your postgraduate work? Leavenworth, right? That doesn't fly usually with organizations. Now that I start my day with the boat, my days are better. Wow, how cool is that? Huh? Let me tell you something. Now that I start my day with all of you, my days are better. That's a true story. Cat's not in the basket. She's slowly disassembling everything in the entire home. Yeah, she's not sure what she wants to do. She's on top of the roll top desk currently. I will see you people later today. I got a little teaser for you. Today is the day that I am working with Bryce. We're putting this down today. I'm going to be telling the world what Drew Peterson told me about what happened with his wife Stacy. I am not doing it here because I'm not a pro. But Bryce is. So we're going to do it on Esoteric Atlanta, right? There's the warning. We're filming it today. She's a pro. She gets it out pretty quick, but I would start subscribing and looking over at Esoteric Atlanta. And if I've got a wrench, could you throw up the link to that? That's Esoteric Atlanta. Host Bryce. Love Bryce. Great, great woman. And I just love doing interviews with her. She's really, really, comforting. She's a very cool person to talk to. You gotta love animals that are just that are loving. Just had a delivery person come to the door and my beagle ran to them like they were long lost friends. I love that. All right, peeps. You know the drill. Thank you, Noise Opera. Now, everybody do me a favor and go over there and give my friend Bryce a follow, right? Hit subscribe, and then tomorrow, I don't know, a couple of days, I don't know how long it'll take her, but you too will know what the world has been waiting to know, because I am going to tell the world what Drew Peterson says really happened. And I don't know that it's never come out, right? So, Christy, thank you. Christy says subbed. Thank you so much. I promise you, people, you're going to be glad you did. This is going to be one hell of a story. We're breaking this. It's never come out before, and maybe an interesting tie-in to some cops that probably should handle life a little different too. Be interesting. All right, people. Look at all the people that subbed. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. You have to sub daily here. You know what? People, check and see if you have been unsubscribed from the boat. I'm getting this from so many people. I'm so sorry. We have zero control over that. I mean, zero control. But please keep re-hitting subscribe. And thank you for your help. I appreciate that. But I'm sorry it just kind of happens to some people. I wish it didn't. Are you coming down here? Gives me a huge yawn and an attitude problem. All right, people. We'll see you tonight for sure. I'm going to try to squeeze something in. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. All right? Just because of what's going on. But you know all the other channels that are going live, right? So I did time with Drew Peterson. I worked in an office inside of a prison with just me and Drew Peterson 40 hours a week for a year and a half. Just me and old Drewski. Yeah. All right, people. We'll see you soon. I'm Captain Tommy. Make it a great day. Hey, I'm gonna. Really? You find it hard to unsubscribe to channels? Wow, I've never heard that before. That's crazy. Yeah, bye you, babe. I'm gonna blow some. I'm gonna blow some domes with this. It's creepy. That's why. Because it's creepy. He's a creepy individual. Everybody have a fantastic day. God bless.